This is the real Toronto. This is the best of us too. It's the best of us. It's Jason.
Yeah.
He looks rough.
Rough, man.
I still feel like he's good looking, and there's the other guy. Say hi.
Oh, hello.
Many people seem to forget that Canada is not a very old country. In fact, Canada is very new on the global stage compared to a lot of countries in Europe and Middle East and even in Africa. And maybe it's because Canada was a bit of an experiment, alas, a failed experiment. We're going to be talking about that very subject in today's video and also react to a bunch of TikToks on this subject as well. With that being said, guys, let's dive straight into it today.
This is the real Toronto. This is the best of us too. It's the best of us. It's Jason.
Yeah.
He looks rough.
Rough, man.
I still feel like he's good looking, and there's the other guy. Say hi.
Oh, hello.
So this is the worst of us. We're the loser bunch.
Are you going?
And Lennox is gonna take off on us, or are you
What
gonna
are you
take
gonna
off?
make? What are you gonna make?
Now, these are pretty common scenes if you live in Toronto. If you go downtown, hell, if you go down any area and you're walking around, you might see something like this on the streets. My heart goes out to them. I hope they do find peace at some point, but they are also products of a failed society, a country that is collapsing.
Did you know in the US you can get a 25 or a 30-year mortgage and have that mortgage be fixed at 2.5% or 3%? And not only that, they allow you to write off the interest payments. So what that means is if you make, say, $100,000 a year or $80,000 a year, it will lower the amount of taxes you actually owe to the government, thereby allowing you to keep more. And Canada has the ability to do the exact same thing, but instead they send tens of billions of dollars to other countries, creating a net outflow of dollars from our taxpayer dollars to these other countries instead of helping the very own citizens of Canada that pay those taxes. And you don't even want to know the near $100 billion of corporate welfare that have been given to some of the biggest companies in the entire world so they can build plants here.
Now, what's scary about this is the fixed mortgage that he's talking about is so much better than what we have here in Canada. There's variable mortgages, but even if you have a fixed mortgage in Canada, it's only up to 5 years. Then you have to renew your mortgage as well, which could send shocks to the system if mortgage rates have completely changed. And that's really on the Bank of Canada. So Canada is running a very dangerous experiment, especially considering the fact that Canada is so reliant on housing prices going up in the real estate market.
Okay. It's inflation report day. So I'm going to talk about the Canadian inflation report and the US inflation report and some rumors coming out of the US. But first, I have to get this off my chest. I know Canada is a hockey country, okay? But I'm a soccer guy. Let me explain this travesty that's occurring at the moment. On Sunday, the final of the Club World Cup was played, and Chelsea won. And Donald Trump is keeping the trophy. You can Google the trophy presentation. It was embarrassing. And rather than having Chelsea take the trophy home to their club, Donald Trump is going to keep the trophy in the Oval Office and have another one made for them. Let me put this into perspective for you. Not to open old wounds, okay? But we all know the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup Finals. But imagine that they won the Stanley Cup Finals in Florida. And instead of bringing the cup home to Edmonton, Donald Trump took it home to the Oval Office. The normal historic World Cup, the one between the nations, that's being played in the US next year. Can you imagine Donald Trump keeping the World Cup? Because he's kept this World Cup already. All right, let me start with the U.S. inflation. U.S. CPI data set to show inflation increased further in June, reinforcing Fed's cautious stance. And yeah, it did. It did. It went up to 2.7%. Why did it go up to 2.7%? Tariffs. That's why. Economic Council head says Trump's ability to fire Fed's Powell is being looked into. Yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going around the internet that Jerome Powell has quit. No, he hasn't quit. Not yet. At least not at the time that I'm making this video. And Jerome Powell has said over and over and over again that he is not cutting rates because of the inflationary threat of the tariffs. Look, I've said it before, I'm agreeing with Trump on this one. They should be cutting rates in the US. But, JP does have a point in that the tariffs can increase consumer price inflation in the US. They already are increasing the consumer prices in the US, but there's a possibility that if the conditions are right, people will accept even higher prices and then the greedflation starts. And we all know about that. So, on that front, he has a bit of a valid argument that if they reduce the rates, it might get people thinking things are okay. They might accept higher prices. The greedflation might take over. It's a possibility. What's also a possibility? That he steps down or gets fired, gets replaced by somebody Trump loves. They slash interest rates and they set us up for a catastrophe down the road. Because remember, we don't want rates going too low. That's also a problem. All right, Canada's inflation. What's the story here? Tariffs as well. How do I know that? They don't call out tariffs in the actual CPI, but they have this giant statement at the bottom of the CPI portal about tariffs. They're talking about gasoline. They're talking about the increased cost of passenger cars because of tariffs. After 30 straight months of mortgage interest costs being at the top of the list, it's now second on the list. They put rent above it. Yeah, they're blaming gasoline because gasoline year over year did not fall as much in June as it had in May. I'm sorry, but falling prices don't cause price inflation. Rising prices cause price inflation. Speaking of gasoline, this is important. That was the average monthly price of gasoline across the country in June, 140.7. Why is that important? Because it means the month-over-month price growth is not that much. There's the actual CPI numbers. May is when we finally saw the tariffs take hold, right? And so it jumped from 163.4 to 164.3, and now it's gone up just a little bit to 164.4. And there's a real possibility that we could hold at 164.4 for the next several months. Will they cut the rates? Who knows? Should they cut the rates? Yes, absolutely. I don't mean to disrespect any of the other provinces, okay? But the most important provinces in the country have high unemployment. Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. If people aren't working in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta, we got a problem. Listen, Yukon, I think you're fantastic. I would love to visit someday, okay? And I think it's great that you have 3.9% unemployment, but you have less than 50,000 people. These three provinces are the economic engines of the country. If they're not working, the country's not working. We're living in clown show times, so I'm not surprised that everything is a clown show, but it's really frustrating.
And he's correct when it comes to greedflation. Now, a lot of companies could start using tariffs as an excuse to actually raise prices, and that should be something that is on people's minds for sure. But also the unemployment in Canada. 3 of the provinces that are the most important to Canada have the highest unemployment rate. And again, if those countries are not functioning properly and people aren't working, then the country as a whole is not doing well.
Canada is so cooked. So on Wednesday, it was
Vancouver.
Canada is so cooked. So on Wednesday, it was announced that thousands of Canadians, foreign immigrants, will be able to sponsor their parents and their grandparents from their home countries to come to Canada. So what that means for Canadians is that there are potentially going to be thousands of people coming into Canada that are seniors, that are requiring healthcare, that have also never paid into the healthcare system. So they are going to be using the healthcare systems that are already depleted and that are already failing the Canadians who are already in Canada and the ones that are paying for these health systems. So if you think healthcare is bad now, just wait another 6 months to a year when all these seniors have an influx into Canada, require the healthcare systems, and are using them as well.
And that should scare everyone. The fact that we've been paying into our healthcare system for years and years, decades and decades, as long as you've been employed and paying taxes, then all of a sudden someone can just scoop up all that healthcare when senior citizens from other countries start moving into Canada, but they've never paid into the system. This is one of the many reasons as to why Canada as a country right now is so cooked. Leave your thoughts down below about this video's subject, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.